Hello, and welcome to Zavala's Kitchen, episode 3. My name is Chef Diego, and for this week's episode, we're going to be making 7-layer dip. Even though it's technically 6-layer dip, we still call it 7-layer dip because we can't find a better name. Anyway, this week's episode, we're going to be joined by my mom, Cassandra Palacios. And some of you may recognize her as the nurse from Los Al, because she is.
Hi Griffins, nice to see you guys. I'm missing everybody. I love when I see you guys around campus, but hopefully everyone's at home staying healthy, doing lots of hand washing. That's the best way to fight all the germs, the way Diego showed you in the first episode.
Now, as my grandma used to say, let's get cooking. Now it's time to get these layers layered. Now, personally, I don't really remember how to do this like my 7th grade self. I don't know the difference between the core, the mantle, the crust. So, Mom, why don't you go ahead and explain that to me?
Sure. So our 6 layers, since it's not quite 7, starts with ground beef, which we season with some garlic salt. Then we're going to go ahead and make some beans, like a version of refried beans, which we season with some Lowry seasoned salt. Then sour cream. Then we go ahead and I make my own guacamole, a version of guacamole.
It's really good.
And then we throw in some salsa, some peas pecani sauce actually is my preference. And then last we top it off with some grated cheese. And that's basically it. It's pretty simple. So there's 2 layers that we need to actually cook on the stove. And then just the assembly of the guacamole. But otherwise it's relatively a fast dish to make and pretty simple.
Now that we're done washing our hands, we're going to move on to the first layer, which is ground beef. So, what are we going to do in order to prepare the ground beef?
Well, in order to brown the ground beef, what you're going to need is a large frying pan.
It's pretty big.
And then you're going to turn it on to medium heat. Now, with the 7-layer dip, it depends on how big of a tray you're going to make. It's pretty popular for us to use at parties or picnics, stuff like that.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl
Those
Sunday
sorts
is
of
a big
things.
hit. So I tend to use a bigger size tray. So you just throw it right into the pan, and then we're going to go ahead and season it with some garlic salt. You start seasoning that, you put this in the trash.
Just gotta shake.
Shake it over.
Now, a good tip for when you're seasoning something is to keep it above about a foot, and to just shake over it, so it gets a good, nice coverage.
So I like to kick in the garlic salt, that flavor. I tend to use close to probably a 1/3 cup of garlic salt, a couple teaspoons. So Diego didn't quite put enough. I'm definitely going to put more garlic salt. And you're going to go ahead and just break it apart, and keep letting it brown. Because this really is a base flavor for it. And I think we're there. There's no more pink, so the meat looks nice and brown. It's all ready to go. It smells delicious.
Let's bring it over here.
So you're going to take a bowl, a large bowl, and then we just kind of use like a colander metal one version, and we put that on top of the bowl. That way we don't lose any of the meat. Okay, so the meat's all strained. We're ready to go ahead and put our first layer into our dish. This time we're using a larger size one. So we're going to go ahead and just spread the meat, kind of a flat layer basically. Again, we probably won't need all of that meat as it's too much. So just kind of flatten that out. Reach all the corners. Perfect, and that's basically what the first layer looks like. So now we'll show you how to go ahead and make the refried beans.
Now we're going to be moving on to layer 2, which is the Sun Vista pinto beans.
That's right. Now we're going to make a version of refried beans. So, with the Sun Vistas, what you're going to do is you're going to need a little pan right here on the stove, again, medium heat. What I do is the Sun Vistas tend to be super convenient and come with their own pool tabs. What you need to do is go over to the sink, and we're going to just dump out all of the bean juice. It's just simple little seasoned salt and the beans. Now this can is probably more than what I would normally use, but we can go ahead and always use them for bean and cheese burritos or something later. And refried beans are, sorry, let me get the right outside. So we, again, probably about 2 tablespoons for seasoning. You could always add a little bit of milk if you wanted, or sometimes you could even put cheese in there. So here we are mashing, mashing, mashing. And you want to do it until they don't look like they're whole beans anymore. Okay, so the beans are done. They're nice and mashed, as you can see. And basically, you're just warming them. The beans are already cooked that come in the can, and we're just kind of seasoning them and adding the flavor. Why don't you grab one of these, Dee?
Let's move on to adding layer 2.
Throw the masher in the sink. You want to go ahead and take that over? So, what you're gonna kind of do here, again, we're not gonna use the whole big pan. So I kind of just put like a blob. I know that sounds silly, but that's kind of how I measure it off. Great. And it's probably gonna take another small blob right there. And so my trick for it with the regular spoon to kind of make it not so beanie tasting is I kind of just mix it in with the beef.
Now we're going on to layer number 3, which is the sour cream.
That's right, we're all done with the stove. So basically this is pretty simple. You just take a spoon and you spread the sour cream across the top. This time it can look pretty.
Now, after layer 3, you guessed it, we're on to layer 4, obviously. And what is layer 4?
It's the guacamole. So here's a trick with the avocados. What do we always do before we cut them? We wash them off. I learned that little thing. If you wash them, sometimes they say you have germs on the outside, and then when you're cutting into it, you're cutting the germs on the inside. So we wash the outside of our avocados. So Diego's gonna slice those up. Okay, so now that we have all the avocados in there, this time I used about 4 small avocados. We're gonna grab a quick fork. And Diego will come over here, and we'll just use that to initially mash up our avocados. This is a pretty simple recipe that we use here at the house. We use just a little bit of mayo, and then we add garlic salt and usually pepper. Perfect. We're gonna go ahead and just kind of throw in 2 small little tablespoons of mayo in there. Then we're gonna use probably about a tablespoon of garlic salt. Then we just do a little dash of pepper, maybe like half a teaspoon, a little bit more for flavor. Okay, perfect. All right, we're all ready to add our 4th layer to the dip. So you're gonna go ahead and just plop it down, my little plop plop.
Now that we finished layer 4, we're going to move on to layer 5, which is some salsa.
That's right. So this one's super easy. Again, store-bought. I prefer the paste. You can choose any of the homemade salsas of your choice or any of the store brands. I usually tend to use the mild. This one is medium. That's the highest and hottest I'll go. And actually, when you eat it straight, it tastes a little spicy, but put in there, you don't really taste it that much. So you kind of just spread it around. This is really watery, and it kind of goes a long way.
So we just finished layer 5. We got one more left. My favorite of all, the queso.
That's right. We are a big cheese family. Love all kinds of cheese. So we always get our cheese from Costco because we need the big ones. I really prefer grating it, and that's why I have these wonderful kids. As a mom, I get to say, son, daughter, it's your turn. Can you please grate me some cheese? So I'm going to let Diego grate the cheese for me right there.
Yeah. Let me grate some cheese. This is going to take too long. Let me do a little bit of magic real quick. And that's why I love me some magic. Cheese is done.
Nice. All right, good job. Wow, you were super quick on that. All right, well, as you can see, that's beautiful cheese, freshly grated. Good job, Diego.
Thank you.
And now we basically just throw it on top. So you just spread the cheese all throughout, and that is the 6th and final layer of the dip. Okay, now that the cheese is all on there, look at that beautiful freshly grated cheese right on top of your dip. It's all done. Usually when you buy it from the store, the 7-layer dip at the store, you are on your way to a party, or maybe you're on your way to the beach or something and you eat it cold. You can definitely eat this cold if you want, but we like to warm it up. We eat it warm, right? So you throw it in the oven. You can put the oven on warm or your lowest setting. Our lowest is 240. So Dee, why don't we go ahead and stick that in the oven for about 20 minutes. You just kind of want the cheese to melt, depending on what your oven does. And then it's ready to go.
Yeah, this is taking too long. I'm gonna do a little fire magic.
I think we're good. Should be ready. You want to
Yay.
pull it out?
Sure.
Here, bud. Safety. Don't want to burn. Always use a good pair of gloves when you're messing with hot things, says the nurse.
It's like a dragon flame in there.
Beautiful. Why don't you bring it over here to cool? On this side. Perfect. Look at that. And there it is. There is our almost 7-layer, not quite dip, Cassandra style. The last part is the chips.
That part is to enjoy.
We use the Tostitos, the scoops. You can use Frito-Lay scoops. Those are good since you're scooping up the dip. Or again, the Costco has the Kirkland chips if you're doing it for a big party and lots of people. You ready to try it?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Careful when you bite in, it might be hot.
Ready? Cheers.
Delicious.
Do you think we should ask them to submit a name for 7-layer dip that's actually 6 layers?
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's hear your greatest, best ideas on what this dip should be called.
It'll be featured in the next video.
That'd be awesome. Can't wait to hear them.
You know I could just do magic to do the dishes, right? I'm just letting you know.